And we're back. And Josh, we're ready to tackle two titles. One is kind of a new team, some old teammates, some new. And then we're going to talk about an old character by the king himself, Jack Kirby. Teen Titans number 4, Damian Knows Best, part 4. Well, Damian, little backstory here. Damian is 13, and when he turned 13, his grandfather, Ra's al Ghul, we've heard a lot of different pronunciations, we were just talking about it during the break, had sent Damian like a happy birthday, you need to choose. He sent him a dead Robin, didn't he? Mm-hmm. And saying, you need to choose, are you going to fulfill your destiny and lead the Demon's Fist, or are you going to stand by the detective and end up pretty much being killed? Mm-hmm. So that kind of freaks Damian out, and he decides that he needs a team to help combat the menace. And what better team than for Robin to lead than the Teen Titans? Mm-hmm. At first they were unsure of what to make of Damian Wayne because he's not Tim Drake, he's not Dick Grayson. But in his own little way, these last few issues, he's starting to grow on them.
Their discussions in this one, well, he's off with Ra's al Ghul,
yes,
they're starting to realize, okay, this guy is actually just kind of insecure. Mm-hmm. You know, he's bossy and egotistical and entitled, I think is the best word for it, because mm-hmm. he thinks he's entitled to mm-hmm. be the leader of the Teen Titans, just like he kind of thinks he's entitled to be Batman at some point. Mm-hmm. And they're starting to realize, okay, this guy might not be so bad.
Right.
You know, and it's funny because Beast Boy is the one who sort of ends up rooting for him the most. Maybe not directly, because they're the ones that kind of clashed the most with the lighthearted one and the mm-hmm. Super bossy one. But Beast Boy also feels guilty that he wasn't there to help Tim Drake.
Yep.
So, I mean, he's kind of the one who ends up leading the charge to go help save Damian from Ra's al Ghul, which they find out through Beast Boy doing recon.
Yep.
Yeah.
Beast Boy, he's the character. But they find out that he surrendered to Ra's al Ghul, and Ra's al Ghul still wants him to fulfill his destiny, but when they're looking, what is it, the mirror, they're looking at the mirror of truth?
The mirror of truth.
Mirror of truth. Ra's al Ghul sees Damian Wayne as Ra's al Ghul in the future, mm-hmm. while Damian sees himself as Batman in the future. So you already know where Damian sees himself in this conflict. But the Demon's Head and his cousin Mara, there's a lot of tension there, and there's a lot of, I wouldn't say bad feelings, but there are, because she feels, and the Demon's Head feels, that he is not entitled to lead them anymore because he abandoned them for this other life. And that's why they don't accept him. They already wiped the floor with the Teen Titans, and now she calls a trial by combat. No, Damian says a trial by combat. Mm-hmm. And he ends up losing.
Yeah, that's a little surprising. Yeah, mm-hmm. It does make me wonder, because their agreement was that if Damian wins, he's sort of wiped clean from that slate, and if she wins and kills him, then she gets to live with the fact that she would have been a better leader of the demons of the League
of Assassins.
Yeah.
Well, I think the bet was, if Damian wins, he's still going to turn himself over, but they leave the Teen Titans alone, mm-hmm. because the Demon's Fist.
Yeah.
That little group, the Demon's Fist, they're not allowed to touch them, mm-hmm. because they were going to go back and kill him anyway, because they felt that was their right. Mm-hmm. And if Damian lost, of course he's dead, but Mara, fair and square, leads that league. But they have some history because they always would fight as cousins and sparring, and mm-hmm. he scarred her up with a knife pretty bad one time.
Yeah.
So Damian loses, and then the group kind of starts to question Mara's commitment to them.
Yeah. When they made the bet, the Demon's Fist actually wasn't terribly happy about that, because they said, well, killing the Teen Titans, that's our graduation. Yep. I mean, that's for us. That mm-hmm. was promised to us, and Mara essentially says, no, I mean, my needs kind of overshadow your needs. And then after, when they're putting Damian into the cell, they start questioning, okay, maybe Damian might have been a better leader
Yes.
for us than Mara,
Mhm.
because at least we'd be with him. You know,
Yep.
we'd be treated as equals, not
Mhm.
you know, not taking a back seat to Mara's
Yep.
demands. Which makes me wonder, when the Teen Titans come to bust him out, is there going to be some dissension in the ranks among the Demon's Fist?
There might be.
Yeah.
I would imagine, because the end of the issue, they do come
Yeah.
and they start to say, "Look, we're going after our friend."
Mm-hmm.
And Damien is start to consider the Teen Titans his friends. He almost says it, but he stops himself.
Mm-hmm.
I could imagine this next issue seeing the remnants of the Demon's Fist teaming up with the Titans and Damien, taking out Mara and trying to get out of there, Ra's al Ghul, and probably some type of compromise is going to be made.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, definitely sounds like it. Definitely sounds like Mara might not survive this. I
Right.
kind of got that sense. Like, I don't know. We'll see.
Ra's al Ghul wasn't very happy that Mara won.
Yeah. He said that was kind of a disappointment for
Mhm.
Damien. I mean, that is his grandson, and
Yep.
yeah. And it kind of makes me think too. Maybe could that have been intentional? Could Damien have thrown that?
I don't know.
I mean, it's hard to tell. I mean, he got stabbed in the back.
Mm-hmm.
You know, would he have known where Mara would stab him? Would he have known that Mara,
Mm-hmm.
you know, wouldn't have fatally stabbed him? I don't know. But for a kid that seems to have kind of everything planned out, it'll be interesting.
That he does.
Yeah.
Any thoughts on where Teen Titans goes from here? And are you enjoying the characters starting to gel together as a team?
Yeah, and I'm always really happy to see Damien in issues,
Mhm.
because there is something, for kind of as annoying as he can be to his teammates, he's such an
Yeah.
enjoyable character to read, because it's like a little kid with the spirit of like an old man in him.
Yep.
I mean, he's not a kid. He gets that frowny face. There's the part before they have their fight, and Damien's just in a room, you know, practicing his fighting, and he's saying,
Yep.
"Oh, what? You want another piece of me? You want?"
Yep.
And it's so funny.
Mhm.
It's almost out of character, but not quite. I mean, I could see him doing that, you know,
Mhm.
kind of taking out his aggression, just shadow boxing a fake
Right.
Mara. It's fun to read.
Yeah, definitely. Teen Titans #4, and Teen Titans as a series is funny. There is humor, and we are starting to get to the point where I think that team is going to gel and move forward, and that's Teen Titans #4. The Kamandi Challenge #1, the rules / K is for kill. A very, very unique title that we get, and I'm going to hand this to you. Give us some history of Kamandi, the series, Kamandi the character, and then we're going to talk about the book a little bit.
Well, Kamandi's a fairly old DC title, very closely associated with Jack Kirby, because he did a lot of artwork for it, where Kamandi is a kid in an alternate future where, you know, the world's been wiped out with atomic war. The ruling class on Earth is animals. They're anthropomorphic, evolved animals. I mean, they're intelligent, they can walk, they can talk, and humans are slaves to them.
Mhm.
They typically don't speak, they typically aren't intelligent until these guys meet Kamandi. And this issue is sort of a reintroduction to that, is him
Yes.
trying to survive in this world where basically everyone he meets hates him or wants to kill him or wants to make him a slave or whatever. And it's, you know, kind of Planet of the Apes-esque, a bit trippier.
Yes.
I mean, especially with Jack Kirby artwork, which gets kind of trippy every now and then. This, especially the first half of this issue, the rules, is very strange, from where he's in this fortified bunker where he's living a very normal, modern life, and then, you know, the bunker suddenly gets besieged, and, you know, the rat men end up showing up, and as it turns out, everyone he's ever met is actually a robot who's been taking care of him, and and he gets kind of thrust out into this world that he's not familiar with, and it's very out there, but it's very enjoyable as a comic.
Yeah, the character Kamandi was one of Jack Kirby's, like you said, defining characters, and Jack Kirby created a lot of characters throughout the course of his comic book history, and this was one that a lot of people, they reference to a lot. And last time I heard of Kamandi was during Countdown to Final Crisis, where they actually used a a virus that the Karate Kid, Morticus virus, and one of the alternate Earths that they did, the virus infected all the animals, and they become polyanthropomorphic. I can't pronounce
Anthropomorphic.
it. Anthropomorphic. There we go. Ding. And they had Kamandi is actually the bunker that he's in is called Command D, and when he is captured for the first time, they say, "Who are you? Where are you from?" He says, "I'm Command D. I'm from Command D," and that's where they get Command D.
Yeah.
And that's I always thought that was interesting. But this title of this book, the premise of the book is each issue is written by a new writer. And they leave a cliffhanger like they used to do in the old serials, that they would leave off on a cliffhanger. And then it's up to the other writer to resolve that cliffhanger, have a story, and then leave a cliffhanger for the next writer. And they're going to do that through 12 issues, which I thought was unique. The letters page in this issue, Dan DiDio, he wrote the first cliffhanger, and then he had his way of solving it. But you see in the issue, the second writer that goes to it has his own way that he solves it. So then in there, I think that's awesome to me is you don't know for sure. We might think, well, they'll do it this way. Writer comes in, nope, going to do it this way. And then they keep on with the story. In the letters page, it's brought up that they have not intentionally touched on Command D for many years. It's because it's not that they can't tell a great story, they can, but how do they do justice to this character and to Kirby's legacy?
Yeah.
So thinking that is, I think they've got a lot of great plans ahead for them, because I think this is like the 100th year, Jack Kirby's birthday. They celebrate 100 years of Kirby, and there's a lot planned, but they want to make sure they hit this one out of the park. And I hate to use that terminology, but they do.
Yeah. Well, and it's cool too, because to have Kamandi back, one of the questions I always had not seeing Kamandi for so many years was, maybe DC thought he wasn't that relevant anymore. And then reading this, there's a lot of question about humanity.
Yes.
I mean, you have all these anthropomorphic animals who are, intelligent and have, human level intelligence, and they're still waging war on each other. They're still taking slaves. They're still, they're still fussing over like nuclear warheads and stuff.
Yes.
They're still stockpiling weapons, and yet they call Kamandi an animal.
Yep.
And I think it's still very relevant as I was reading it. It's like, okay, that there is still a niche for it in modern times. I mean, it's still something that you can apply politically and socially, and it's an interesting, just an interesting dialogue about
Agreed.
that.
And I love that they keep the artwork the same. It's not modernized. It's the basic way that Jack Kirby had drew his characters.
Especially the first part of this one is very Kirby-esque. I mean, there were a few pages where I'd have to look at this and kind of flip back to the cover, like, they didn't, he didn't somehow write this, or draw this before he died, did he?
Right.
And it's a very good approximation of his style.
And maybe when they go through issues, they'll start to branch out and let each individual artist either do their unique take on it, or they'll keep it to the same, which either way would be fine with me, as long as it's great stories, and that's what we're going to get. And I can't really say anything more about it, because there's just a lot there, and you read it and you enjoy it, and you're thinking, this still works, like you said.
Yeah, and I'm really curious to see how they resolve the cliffhanger at the end of this issue, because Kamandi's like, maybe 30 feet away from a nuke that's just been brought in and is being monkeyed with by the king. It's like, okay, how do you get out of this?
They're saying, what's going on? The nuke's like, and he tells them, it's about ready to explode. It's going to take us all with us.
Yeah.
They're thinking, the god is awakened. Yeah, he's going to awake you to a big hole in the ground.
Yeah, and they're just going to end up, ignoring the unintelligent human standing there.
Right.
Yeah.
One little Easter egg thought I saw was where they had that, the Shrine of War, whatever they called it. They had a little eye symbol above it, and I think that's a reference to Brother Eye, or Omak. And so I don't know, because they never really truly say in Kamandi what caused the Great Cataclysm, the Great Disaster. It's always a little bit different. But so maybe Omak, they might have something to do with Omak. We'll see as the issues go by if they touch on OMAC, because that's OMAC and Kamandi are usually put together quite a bit.
Yeah, that would make me very, very happy. I enjoy seeing any iteration of OMAC because, frankly, any guy with a weird mohawk like that makes me very happy.
Well, we're going to take our final break, and when we come back, we are going to wrap up with the end of the first DC Rebirth crossover, Justice League versus Suicide Squad, and the other titles with it. We'll be back in just a moment.